Welcome to the podcast, Hater Proof, mostly for self-improvement, good for your listening parts. Stay tuned. Today's Monday, and I have the current events for today, and also some calming sounds for you. Should help you relax. Maybe drink some of the tea that I told you to get yesterday. The tea is good, though. The tea is good for you. You need some kind of medicine for your blood. So that tea should be really good for you. And that's it. The title of this episode is Calming.
Shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything'll be alright. Cover me in sunshine.
Like our sunshine.
Shower me with good times. Tell me that the world's been spinning since the beginning, and everything'll be alright.
I'm happy, feeling glad I got sunshine. In a bag, I'm useless.
Cover me in sunshine.
June 7th, 2021, Monday evening current events. Number 1, the Senate is poised to pass a huge industrial policy bill to help the U.S. compete with China in manufacturing and technology. Both Republicans and Democrats support the $247 billion measure, which is the most expansive industrial policy legislation in U.S. history. President Biden will also discuss China's influence, among other issues, at the upcoming Group of Seven summit and a later visit to NATO. But lawmakers agree on little else. On Sunday, Senator Joe Manchin III said that he would not vote for the Democrats' far-reaching bill to combat voter suppression or to end the filibuster. In so doing, he imperils Biden's ambition agenda and empowers a Republican Party still taking its cues from Donald Trump. Number 2, the FDA approved a new Alzheimer's drug, although questions remain about its efficacy. The drug aducanumab, which will go by the brand name Aduhelm, will be the first new treatment in 18 years. I guess it's pronounced Aduhelm or something like that. It is the first approved treatment to attack the disease process instead of just addressing dementia symptoms. But the agency's independent advisory committee and leading experts said there was not enough evidence that the drug actually helps. Patients will have access to the drug now, but the FDA granted approval on the condition that the manufacturer, Biogen, conduct a new clinical trial. In other science news, a new study suggests that the alpha coronavirus variant, first identified in Britain, most likely became so powerful because it disables the body's first line of immune defense, giving the variant more time to multiply. Yeah, that corona string is good at multiplying. So number 3, Vice President Kamala Harris spoke in Guatemala as Latin American politics shift underfoot. Tasked with breaking the cycle of migration that fuels partisan tensions back home, Harris has committed to sending the region $310 million. That's just the first chunk of a $4 billion 4-year plan to improve Central America's economies. And on the same day that she met with President Alejandro Giammattei, she had a blunt message to would-be migrants. Quote, "Do not come." But aid programs have not worked. The U.S. has sent Guatemala more than $1.6 billion over the last decade. In that time, malnutrition and poverty rates have risen, and more unaccompanied children come from Guatemala than any other country. Recent elections reflect widespread frustration. Midterm elections in Mexico narrowed President Andrés Manuel López Obrador's leftist majority, threatening his plans to overhaul the economy and society. And in Peru, where the presidential race is too close to call, the left and right are clashing over neoliberal economic policies that have long held sway. Number 4, the Justice Department says it has recovered much of the ransom paid after the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack. The seizure marked a first-of-its-kind effort by a new Justice Department task force to hijack a cybercriminal group's profits through a hack of its Bitcoin wallet. Colonial, which controls the holding tanks, paid a ransom worth roughly $4.4 million in Bitcoin to a Russian hacking group who held up its business networks in May. Quote, "The old adage, follow the money, still applies," Lisa Monaco, the Deputy Attorney General, said on Monday. Number 5, the Supreme Court made 2 big moves that will affect our immigration policy and conversations about gender. On Monday, the court declined to hear a challenge to one of the last sex-based distinctions in federal law, which requires only men to register for the military draft. Opponents said the law cannot be justified now that women, like the Marine recruits, are allowed to serve in every role in the military, including ground combat. The court gave no reasons for turning down the case, but 3 justices released a statement saying that Congress should have more time to consider the issue. Justices also ruled unanimously that immigrants with, quote, temporary protected status who came to the country without authorization and were allowed to stay temporarily for humanitarian reasons may not apply for green cards. The decision could affect tens of thousands of people. And in other legal news, the ACLU is split over whether its unwavering devotion to the First Amendment conflicts with ever more forceful progressive arguments that hate speech is a form of psychological and even physical violence. Number 6, Republicans are leaning into Donald Trump's lie that he won the 2020 election. Across the country, a group of Republican challengers are running on the, quote, stop the steal fallacy, touted by protesters. If elected, they would bring the GOP's assault on the legitimacy of elections, a bedrock of American democracy, to Congress. But it might not work. In Arizona, an extravagantly flawed, quote, audit of the swing state's election is alienating some Republicans. Polls say it will hurt the GOP in 2022. Still, state party leaders continue the count. And Trump plans to resume regular rallies this summer. That will help him spread his message, but despite social media bans and his blog's low readership, loyal supporters still push Trump's words out on their feeds. Number 7, white people often get more aid from FEMA after living through a disaster. Last August, Hurricane Laura sent trees through the roofs of 2 modest single-story homes about a dozen miles apart in Louisiana, causing almost identical damage. One homeowner, a white man, initially received $17,000. The others, a black couple, got $7,000. A growing body of research shows this outcome happens often and the impact is long-lasting. Whiter communities often get more aid than black ones too, which further widens wealth gaps. The disparities are a challenge for President Biden, who has vowed to tackle both racial inequality and climate change. On Monday, indigenous people and environmentalists turned up the heat when they protested a $9 billion pipeline that would carry oil from Canada across Minnesota and tribal lands. The police have arrested more than 70 people since construction began on December 1st. Number 8, Canadian flags were put at half-staff after the remains of 215 indigenous children were discovered at a mass burial site at the Kamloops Indian Residential School. Impromptu memorials of children's moccasins or shoes have also sprung up throughout the country, including one in front of Parliament. Chief Roseanne Casimir of the Tecumseh Tissaquepamic, I can't pronounce that, says she expected searches to find more remains. Canada forced an estimated 150,000 indigenous children to attend residential schools from around 1883 to 1996. The leader of a commission established in 2015 now believes, quote, well beyond 10,000 children died or disappeared. The commission's estimate was 4,100. So, this is a tribe, an indigenous tribe, spelled TK''EMLUPS TE, then SECWEPEMC, if it matters to anyone. But I'll get that pronunciation right. So number 9, Jeff Bezos is going to space. He may even come back. The Amazon gazillionaire will be on board when his rocket company Blue Origin conducts its first human space flight on July 20th. He's bringing his brother Mark, and the company is auctioning off a passenger seat. Bidding has reached $2.8 million. Once home, he'll adjust to a life change. He's stepping down as the chief executive of Amazon on July 5th to focus more on projects like Blue Origin. Number 10, and finally, a true test of Italian pizza. Rome has long been a pizza city. Now it's a pizza vending machine city, too. A new outpost, Mr. Goat, makes a steaming pizza from scratch in 3 minutes, no human contact required. Traditional pizza makers have sniffed at the interloper, as have food bloggers. But times are changing, and customers, like the man, are curious. Mr. Goat is hardly the only pizza vending machine around. Supermarkets stock frozen pies, and Domino's is opening new Italian locations. Dario Cuomo, a screenwriter, recently ventured a taste. Quote, not bad, he said, quote, considering it was made by a robot. So there you go. Those are your current events for Monday evening. I wonder how that pizza tasted. Children are our future, so our future depends on how we raise them. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you had fun. Remember, enjoy your next 24 hours. Because one day you're here, the next you're gone. So it seems. Stay hater proof.